The sun scorched the cracked earth of New Mexico, painting long shadows across the barren plains. Jack Vega leaned against his rusted pickup, wiping sweat from his brow with a grease-stained rag. His hands, calloused from years of fixing engines, shook faintly as he popped open a warm soda. The garage he ran sat silent at the edge of town, a lone outpost in a sea of dust and tumbleweeds. Beside him, Whistle sprawled in the truck's shade, her patchy fur caked with dirt. Her left front leg, twisted from some old wound, jutted out awkwardly, but her amber eyes gleamed with a quiet fire. "Hot enough for you, girl," Jack muttered, tossing her a crust of his sandwich. Whistle snapped it up, her tail thumping once against the ground. She'd stumbled into his life a year ago, a scrawny stray limping along Route 66. He'd stopped to check her over, planning to drive on, but she'd climbed into his cab and stayed. Now she was his shadow, a partner he hadn't wanted, but couldn't let go. Dark clouds churned on the horizon, restless and heavy, hinting at a storm. Jack squinted at them, the air shifting thick with dust and heat. He'd fled to this nowhere town to vanish, to bury a past he kept locked tight, even from Whistle. The garage filled his days, drowning out memories of Albuquerque, but some afternoons the quiet pressed too close, stirring ghosts he couldn't outrun. Whistle's ears flicked up, her head tilting toward the empty road. A low whine slipped from her throat. Not fear, but focus. Jack set the soda down, frowning. "What's out there?" he asked. But Whistle was already moving, hobbling toward the lot's edge. Her nose twitched, catching something Jack couldn't feel. To Whistle, the world was alive with scents and sounds. The dry wind whispering sage, gasoline, and something faint. Something alive. She barked once, sharp and urgent, then took off across the dirt, her limp slowing her, but not stopping her. Jack cursed softly, grabbing his flashlight from the cab. "This better be good," he called, jogging after her. The plain stretched endless, dotted with scrub and the bones of old fences. Whistle led him past a faded diner sign, her path veering toward a cluster of abandoned trailers sinking into the sand. Jack's boots crunched on the earth, heat still rising despite the dimming light. Whistle stopped at the nearest trailer, its paint chipped, windows cracked. She pawed at the door, whining louder, her tail stiff. Jack caught up, his chest tightening. "What did you find, huh?" he said, shining the flashlight over the scene. The beam caught a glint of metal, a padlock hanging loose, its chain dangling like someone had pried it free. He pushed the door open, hinges creaking as it swung inward. Dust swirled in the stale air, the trailer a mess of tipped furniture and scattered junk. Whistle darted inside, her nose low, sniffing a trail Jack couldn't see. She stopped at a pile of blankets in the corner, pawing at them with purpose. Jack stepped closer, his light falling on the heap, and then he heard it, a faint whimper, small and human. He dropped to his knees, pulling the blankets back. Beneath them was a child, a girl no older than 5, her dark hair tangled, her face smudged with dust. Her eyes fluttered open, wide and scared, but alive. "Hey, it's okay," Jack said, his voice softening. "I've got you." Whistle pressed her nose to the girl's hand, a soft whine escaping as the child flinched, then eased. "Who are you?" Jack asked, keeping his tone calm. The girl clutched a torn stuffed rabbit, her voice a whisper. "Mila," she said, trembling. "I got left. They said they'd come back, but..." Her words faded, her breath shaky. Jack's stomach dropped. Left? In this heat? Alone? He shrugged off his jacket, draping it over her small shoulders. "You're not alone now, Mila. I promise." He scooped her up, her weight light against his chest. "We're getting you out of here. Whistle, lead on." The dog turned, her senses cutting through the trailer's clutter. Jack carried Mila outside, the wind kicking up now, dust stinging his eyes. Whistle stayed close, her limp more noticeable, but her focus steady. The storm was closing in, dark clouds swallowing the sun. Jack's mind raced. The nearest town was 20 miles. Too far with a kid this weak and a storm brewing. His garage was a mile back, his only shot. "Hang on, Mila," he said, shielding her from the gusts. Whistle trotted ahead, her ears flat against the wind, every step a testament to her grit. The dust thickened, the world blurring, but Whistle's amber eyes shone through the haze. A guide Jack trusted. He stumbled once, Mila's arms tightening around his neck, but Whistle barked, sharp and clear, pulling him forward. They reached the garage as the storm hit hard, sand pounding the walls like a relentless drum. Jack kicked the door shut, setting Mila on a cot in the corner. Whistle curled beside her, her warmth calming the girl's shivers. Jack grabbed a water bottle, pressing it to Mila's lips. "Slow sips, kid," he said, watching her drink. She nodded, her small hand gripping Whistle's fur like an anchor. He pulled out his old radio, the signal crackling as he tuned it to the emergency band. "Found a kid, maybe 5, abandoned in a trailer off Route 66. Need help fast," he said, his voice cutting through static. The reply was faint but clear. "Storm's grounding us. Hold tight, we'll roll out when it clears." Jack swore under his breath, glancing at Mila. She'd be okay for now, but who'd left her? And why? Mila stirred, her eyes on Whistle. "She found me," she whispered. "I heard her outside." Jack scratched Whistle's ears, frowning. The dog hadn't barked until they'd reached the trailer, her search silent until the end. "She's got a way of knowing," he said, his voice gruff but warm. "Tell me what happened, Mila." "My uncle," she said, her voice small. "He brought me here. Said we'd wait for someone, but then he left. Hours ago." Jack's jaw clenched. An uncle ditching a kid in this heat didn't sit right. His mind flickered to Albuquerque, to faces he'd buried, deals that had soured. Rico's voice echoed in his head. "We'll start fresh out west, Jacka." Could it be him? The thought hit like a punch, fear curling in his gut. Not again. The wind howled outside, rattling the garage's roof. Jack stoked a small heater, keeping Mila warm as Whistle stayed glued to her side. "You're safe with us," he told her, his voice steadier than he felt. She nodded, clutching his jacket closer. Hours dragged on, the storm unrelenting, until headlights finally cut through the dust. A sheriff's truck rolled up, deputies piling out. "You the one who called?" a woman asked, her badge catching the light. Jack nodded, stepping aside as they checked Mila. "Says her uncle left her," he said, keeping his voice low. "Found her in a trailer a mile out." The deputy frowned, radioing it in. "No reports of a missing kid yet. We'll sweep the area when this blows over." They bundled Mila into the truck, her small hand waving at Whistle through the window. The deputy lingered, eyeing Jack. "You did good." "That dog too!" Jack shrugged, patting Whistle's head. She's the one who knew. The truck pulled away, leaving the garage quiet again, the storm easing to a dull roar. Jack sank into a chair, Whistle flopping at his feet. His hands shook as he stared at her. "You knew she was out there, didn't you?" he said, his voice rough. "What else you dragging me into?" Whistle's tail thumped once, her amber eyes steady, unflinching. He pulled a box from under the workbench, an old keepsake from Albuquerque, a photo of him and a younger man, both grinning beside a beat-up car. On the back, in faded ink, Jack and Rico, 2018. Rico, his cousin, the one he'd walked away from after a job went bad. The one who'd vanished into the wind. Jack's throat tightened, fear and guilt twisting together. Mila's uncle, Rico? The timing fit too well, and Whistle's instincts screamed it wasn't chance. The wind died down, leaving silence in its wake. Jack looked at Whistle, her breathing even now. "You're pulling me back, aren't you?" he murmured, his voice cracking. She rested her head on his boot, silent but sure. The plains stretched dark outside, hiding answers he wasn't ready for. Whoever left Mila was still out there, and Whistle had cracked open a door Jack had bolted shut. He locked the garage, setting the photo beside Whistle's water bowl. The storm was over, but something bigger loomed. If Jack and Whistle's dusty rescue got you hooked, subscribe now. More secrets from the plains are coming soon. Stick around to find out what's next.